we're going to watch a video about strategic planning, and it's not too long. And it's an introduction, a pretty good summary of the chapter. And then we're going to watch a video on SWOT analysis, and then we're going to do an activity. Remember that on Tuesday of next week, we're going to have the librarian come, so I hope everyone gets here right on time, because she has a full hour and 15 minutes, and does a really good job, and I know y'all are going to learn a lot from her. She really talks about how you can use the library even in today's world when it's not open as long as it used to be. You know, when I was in school at Texas A&M, the library was open 24/7. And, you know, over the years, of course, that got narrowed down. And then after COVID, I'm not sure what the hours are now, but especially during finals, even in recent years, the libraries were open at Texas A&M 24 hours a day, all during finals and the week before. And many years ago, they were just open all the time, you know, really long hours. Okay. So let's see, we're missing a few people, but they can jump in. So, all right, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this video up. Hopefully, you know, it's always a guess as to whether or not the share screen is going to be work for me on any given day. Let's see. And of course, it's not showing. So give me a second. Let's see. There has to be some rhyme or reason to this that I somehow have not figured out yet. Okay, let's try this. There we go.
Anthony Taylor here from SME Strategy. I just wanted to thank you for downloading your tool, whether it's the 15 questions, the strategic planning template, strategic planning assessment, or something else. And as an added bonus, I wanted to run through the strategic planning process with you so that you could get the most out of your tool and bring the most value to your organization. So I endeavored to do this in under 15 minutes, so let's do it. So, strategic planning process. When we do it, there's basically 4 components. There's where are we now, where are we going, what is going to get in our way, and what do we need to do to get to where we want to go. In our process, our aligned strategy development process that we do here, there's 3 types of alignment. Alignment with the leadership team, so making sure everybody on the leadership team is on the same page, that's board or leadership. Alignment with the vision and the strategy, and alignment within the whole organization, so top down, bottom up, everybody's on the same page. So the first part of the strategic planning process is getting inputs. Where are we now? That's things like doing an external analysis, or whether that's a SWOT or a PESTLE analysis. You need to figure out what's going on outside of your organization as well as inside your organization as you build your strategy. The second input that I would recommend is doing an internal analysis, something like a stakeholder engagement survey or just management team inputs. And that's why a strategic planning session is so valuable. And we even do a survey before all of ours. This is the overview of the strategic planning process. So it starts with the vision, where are we going? Then you'll get there by accomplishing your mission. You'll have goals and objectives along the way that help you accomplish your mission, that help you accomplish your vision. And then the strategies, how are you going to accomplish your goals? And the tactics are the individual pieces to your strategic plan. So creating your strategic plan. Most important piece of this is the vision. Where are we going? The future is uncertain, but we as an organization have an opportunity to create that future. So how do you create a vision that isn't just words? A vision is super valuable to be able to motivate your people and inspire people to want to do more and contribute. So a way to think about it is, if success was a place, how would we know if we got there? Where are we going? Why should we go there? And what is winning? We're creating the future, however long it is from now, and we want to be as descriptive as possible on the outset. So what do you see for your organization in 3 to 5 years, or maybe 10 to 25 years? What's a big goal within that vision that could polarize your team, and ideally that one big target everybody can contribute to? It's really important for them to describe the vision as vividly as possible. So what do operations look like? What does staff look like? What do clients look like? How else does your organization look different? And think of it like a blueprint for a house. That's what you're building. The next piece to this is the mission and the purpose. If you complete your mission, you will move forward towards the vision. Why do you exist? What do you do it for? Who is your main customer? And what do you do for them? It's important to realize that you have to make it simple to understand, no buzzwords, and this is not a marketing exercise. This is at the core foundation of why your organization exists. So the next piece that helps the mission stay together are values within the organization. You can use values or culture, but it's really the DNA of your organization. What do you value currently within the organization? What are the cultures and norms of your organization and of your people? Why are they important? What values are important to them? How would you describe the organization if it were a person, good or bad? What is the way we do things around here if you're explaining it to somebody new? What's not acceptable behavior? It's important for you to recognize that values drive performance. It ties the whole strategy together. So again, you have to align your strategy with your vision and your purpose. If you accomplish your purpose, your mission, and then you will be closer to accomplishing your vision. So here's some risks. What's going to get in our way? Leadership. If you don't have the whole management team on board, it's going to pull back your strategy because they're the ones giving the marching orders to your staff and your employees. Communication. This is the biggest hindrance to a successful implementation because people don't know what the plan is, they don't know what they're doing, and they're withholding important information that is really crucial to the plan. Resources. If you don't give enough time or money to put something in place, then it's just not going to happen. And then buy-in. Do you want to be creating a plan and pushing it on your people, or do you want them to buy into the plan because you're allowing them to contribute and move forward on it themselves? So other implementation constraints, time, budgets, human resources, technology, and pretty much anything you can think of, it's waiting around the corner, and there are opportunities in the planning process to identify them, create impact studies, as well as mitigation plans to minimize the downside of these risks. So what uncertainties exist for us? What are the impacts of those uncertainties? What is the likelihood of that happening? And what can we do to mitigate that risk? That way you are proactive instead of reactive, and it keeps your plan on task. So what are the most important things you should be doing in your organization to accomplish your mission and your vision? Strategy inherently is about choices, and there are 1,000,001 choices every single day. So when you create the plan, you need to work backwards to create the tasks, the roles, the individual areas of responsibility. And you can just look right now. How do you create work plans as it exists? This is one of the tools that we actually sell on SME Strategy, and this is the pyramid of purpose, in other words, and we just say, hey, focus on a handful of objectives, don't do too much. Do the strategic priorities well, make significant progress on them, and then move forward from there. Ideally, your strategic priorities help you accomplish your mission, help you accomplish your vision. It's all alignment. And then from there, you have to put the specific objectives and initiatives, the strategies and tactics underneath, as well as KPIs. So KPIs, performance measures and targets. How are you going to measure your strategic priorities? How are you going to know if you are successful? And this is really important. You have to have a scoreboard for your people. They need to know how they are going to be successful in your plan. If you don't have that, then they're just going to be working with a less aim, almost aimlessly, and it will really hurt you coming by in. So this is the balanced scorecard. You can find this on SME Strategy or anywhere else. Or your organization fundamentally does 4 things. There's financial metrics, there's customer metrics, there's learning and growth metrics, and there's internal business processes. And from each, you have objectives, measures, targets, and initiatives that all roll into your strategy and that help you accomplish your vision. So another important piece of that are cascading goals. So think of the goals from the organizational level, the team level, the functional level, and the individual. They all should roll up into the ultimate goal of the organization. And so this can be designed, can't really be run in one meeting. It needs to be done over time, and everybody needs to know how they can do their part to contribute to the strategy. So big picture versus practical application. There's people that you have to manage. So who are the key people in your organization that are responsible for functional areas? Where are gaps as far as key functions that you have right now? And are there people responsible for more than one area? That basically means who is going to be the human being, not the department, that is responsible for moving these strategic initiatives forward. The buck has to stop with a person, and people can be hard to manage. Communicating the plan. Like I said earlier, communication is key. How are you going to share this strategic plan with your organization so everybody can know how to contribute? Keep in mind that different people absorb information in different ways. Words, audio, pictures, whatever works for you, you need to keep the plan top of mind so that people can be aware of where the organization is going and what they need to do to move forward in it. It's all about alignment. If you lose out on some of these pieces, the entire strategy can fall. You need to make sure that the plan is aligned, your people are aligned, and it goes from the top down to the bottom up. And once you get alignment and buy-in, that's when real magic starts happening, and you make really big progress and important progress on your plan and everything that you work on. How do you get alignment? You got to communicate clearly and simply. You need to get buy-in, so bring people into the process so they know how they can contribute. You need to match goals and motivation. Think of it from their perspective. Everybody has a different reason to come to work, and that's why we're really passionate about what we do, because we make people's lives better. Your employees will have better lives. It will affect their families and their communities when they can be successful in their work. And to be successful, they need to have the capability to do that. So you gotta give them the tools and the resources they need to succeed. If you give them a plan, but chop block them and don't allow them to be successful, they're not going to be very motivated to come into work and to give it their best. So when the rubber hits the road, you need to align your team and execute the plan. That means getting communication and then working backwards from the vision to build a plan that comes together and is well aligned. Like I said, strategy is about choices, and you just need to pick the most important things that are going to move your organization forward in the most effective way possible. So if you have an aligned plan and you have a clear direction and you keep that top of mind and don't sway from it, you're going to save time, money, and resources. Your people are going to be happier, and you're just going to get more done, which means you're going to have a bigger impact and you're going to help more people. And that's really what it's about. So happy planning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you structure your strategic planning process.
Okay, so strategic planning is really important in any business, not just at the beginning, but in between, in the end, all the way along the way. Because if you don't have a plan that's constantly looked at and reevaluated and revamped, then your business is going to run into some issues, because times are changing. Things are changing. People's needs are changing, and things that your company has absolutely no control over change, like demographics. Things like maybe you're a company, you're a hospital that is, I always use downtown LA because to me that's what's changed really drastically over the last 30 years or so. At one time it was a very elite bunch in the Hollywood area. Movie stars. There's still some beautiful homes there. VIP type people. But over the years, a lot of the individuals that were living there moved to the Hollywood Hills, the Anaheim Hills, all different places away from the city area. So that can change dramatically the service, the people that you're serving. So your strategic plan needs to be constantly reevaluating and looking at what your company wants or needs to do. A lot of times companies will do a strategic plan in order to get a grant or get whatever it happens to be, and then up it goes onto the shelf and collecting dust by the inches, But it's really important that it's in your mind all the time, because you really can't do very much without a plan. and things just sneak up on you and you don't even realize it. Now, that kind of summed up parts of chapter 2 in strategic planning. When you read it, or if you've already read it, you notice some of the same points, even some of the same graphics. So now what I want to do today is more specialized into SWOT analysis. Most of you have been exposed to SWOT analysis, but I got a little short video to show you for those of you that haven't. Then we're going to do an exercise as a group for the SWOT analysis exercise, and we're going to come back together and look at and discuss the different pieces of that SWOT analysis. And I know some of you will disagree maybe with what the suggested way it should be done, and I'm happy to listen to it and and listen to your reasoning, because in my opinion, there's really, unless it's like a right or wrong answer, like if you were taking statistics from me and you try to convince me that the answer should be 10 and not 100, you might have a tough time. But in this world, I'm always willing to listen to your thoughts on why or why not something might be different. Okay, so what we're going to do now is the SWOT analysis video.
Hi, I'm Erica Olson. Today's whiteboard session is on putting together a SWOT analysis for your organization. SWOT simply stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the purpose of a SWOT analysis is to create a synthesized view of your current state. And great planning, whether strategic planning, marketing planning, operational planning, you name it, great planning starts with an understanding of where you are today, confronting the brutal facts, as Jim Collins says, so you can build a future. And a SWOT analysis is a great way to capture and frame up what your current state is. So I'm going to talk to you about what it is in a little more detail, how to put it together, and then quickly how to put it to use. Let's jump in. Strengths. We build on our strengths. Weaknesses, we shore them up. The right-hand side of your 2x2 matrix, which is your SWOT, is your internal perspective. On the other side, we have our opportunities, which we invest or capitalize in, and our threats, which we monitor. External perspective. Tip number 1, do not confuse your internal and external perspective. We're looking for a holistic view of your organization, and it's important to be really clear about what we can impact and directly influence, internal, and what we can influence but not directly impact, external. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So this is the structure for your SWOT. When you're done with it, you'll have maybe 10 to 15 bullet points in each of the 4 quadrants. So how do you figure out what goes in those quadrants? The simple thing to do is to hop into a room with a whiteboard and brainstorm with your planning team and fill out your SWOT. Taking it to the next level is bringing data into your SWOT analysis. There's tons of data in organizations. Absolutely go pull in some data so you have more of a data-based view of what's going on. Let's talk about those data sources. Internal. Get perspective from executive, board, if you have them, partners, vendors. Gather that through one-on-one interviews. Employees. Employee perspective is super important to help understand what's working and what's not working. Customers, same thing. You cannot have a great SWOT analysis without understanding what your customers are saying about what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. And last, but certainly not least, pull in some of your key performance indicators, or very simply, your current performance over the last year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever makes the most sense. If you're a little pressed for time, make sure you pull in your employee perspective and your customer perspective. On the external side, same thing. What are your information sources? I like to think about external data kind of in concentric circles, starting from the outside. Mega trends. Those are those really big things that are impacting most all organizations across our country or potentially across the globe. Aging baby boomers, growth of millennials, that type of thing. Industry. So your industry has tons of information. There's tons of information from industry associations, and industries have all kinds of trends that impact organizations. So check out your industry association for reports on potential opportunities, threats, and trends in your area. Coming in a little bit closer, your market. The market comes in two flavors: your geographic market that you serve or your target markets that you're serving. Data sources include your economic development organization for current market information, and then Census Bureau for target market type information. Competitors, everybody has competitors. Understand what your top 3 competitors are doing. Super important to have a holistic view of your external perspective. Same thing, if you're pressed for time, make sure you get industry information and make sure you bring competitive information into your SWOT. If you have a little bit of budget, you can buy reports that will make this that much richer and that much more data-based. If you don't, go with the ideas that I already shared with you. Great, so you have all this information, what do you do with it? Synthesize it into 10 to 15 themes, like I mentioned before, group them up, sub-bullet point them, that type of thing, such that you have a pretty well-rounded SWOT. It's nice for it to fit on one page. Like I said, you want to be able to see your current state, one page, 11-point font, not 7, so dial it down. There's always more weaknesses than there are threats, so take that as a rule of thumb, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Here's tip number 2. Do not confuse weaknesses and opportunities. And this happens all the time. And when that happens, your SWOT falls apart. Let me explain why with an example. One theme that might come out of your work is improving communications. Improving communication sounds like an opportunity, right? But it's not, because our external perspective is things we can influence but don't directly control, and we control communication. It's more like a weakness, but it's not phrased like a weakness. So it needs to live in this quadrant, and if you have a lot of things like that, you might consider renaming this quadrant areas of improvement. And if you do that, then just make sure that all the bullet points in this area are phrased that same way: improve communications. If you want to keep it as weakness, change it to lack of communication, and then you have a statement that sounds like a weakness. So why is this important? When you process out your SWOT, and we have a whole video on that, so go check that out, but really quickly, when you process out your SWOT, you're going to want to start with opportunities, and this is your growth area. Planning is about growth. If you have stuff in here that isn't about growth, the SWOT doesn't work. So, opportunities are growth goals. That's what you do with those. Threats, most of the time you don't turn into goals, you merely watch them. Maybe an initiative or two, but most of the time you're watching them. Under/over weaknesses, these are going to turn into your operational and people goals and initiatives. And last but certainly not least, your strengths are a source of your competitive advantage, or a starting point to identify them. We have a whole video on that, so check that out to identify your competitive advantages. Last tip, whatever you do not go through the exercise of putting your SWOT together and then not use it. We see that all of the time. Great planning starts with understanding where you are today. This is how you do that. Make sure you use it to build out your goals and your competitive advantages. That's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Check out our channel. Happy strategizing.
Okay. Can anybody tell me, just both the videos use the term KPI. Anybody catch what it means? Let's see who is listening.
Can I take a guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Was it like the performance measures and targets?
You're almost right on, almost spot on. What it stands for is key performance indicators. So you're absolutely right. Good job. So, and I see Addison also put something up here. So good job. Y'all were listening. I know in the first video they started talking about KPIs and didn't define them. That I've watched that video several times and I never did see them define them. So, you know, sometimes that's not a good thing because it's really important and you don't know what it is. You know, happens to the best of us. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to send this paper up to the chat room, and then I'm going to open up the groups for y'all to self-select once again into your regular group. And what it is it's a story basically about a some sort of facility that you're going to do a SWOT analysis for them. And there's, I think, 14 or 15 statements, and they have a number in front of them. And so you're going to have a quadrant, just like the one she had, and you're going to put the number that corresponds to the statement in the quadrant that it belongs in. So like if number 1 belongs in the opportunities quadrant, then you're just going to write the number 1 in that quadrant. You don't write the whole statement. So what y'all are going to do as a group is you're going to go through each of the statements, and y'all are going to decide where each one goes. 1 or 2 of them can actually cross over and be in 2 different areas. And that's for y'all to decide which ones those might be. So I'm going to give y'all about 10, 15 minutes to do that. And then we're going to come back as a group. Excuse me. Chances are you won't agree with what the professionals say. And I'd like to hear some of your reasons for it. So think about where you put these things. Okay, so I'm going to load it into the chat now. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, you should be able to see it now, so you need to download it. At least one person in each group is going to have to put the numbers on there. And I'm going to open up the chat rooms or breakout rooms and let y'all self-select. And they are open, so y'all can start selecting into your rooms.
Professor,
Uh-huh.
is it possible to send that through email, because I'm using Zoom through my phone and I don't think I can see documents when you
Oh,
put them in
sure.
the chat.
Sure.
Please.
No
Okay.
problem. I'll send. And who is this?
Claudia Gayton.
Okay, Claudia. I'll send it right out.
Thank you.
Professor,
Uh-huh.
can you please email it to me too?
You know what? I'll send it to everybody. Maybe that'll make it
Okay.
easier, make life easier. All right. Give me about 2 seconds and it'll be there.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Martinez, I just switched from my phone to my laptop. Would you mind letting me in the meeting?
Oh, sure, no problem.
Thank
You're
you.
group 1, right?
Yes.
Are you able to stay afterwards for a few minutes to look at your APA?
Yes.
Okay, super. All right. There you go.
I'm sorry, I switched from my phone to my laptop. So I logged into the Zoom meeting on my laptop.
Oh, so I need to put you in the Zoom. Okay, hang on.
Is that okay?
Of course. I just got to get back to that area. Give me 1 second.
No worries.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where it's at because I pulled away from it to send that paper out. Give me 1 second. I know I can get to it somewhere here. Okay, I'm showing you're in, Jacob.
Yeah, I'm on my phone. Would it be better if I leave and then let in?
I got it. Here you go, right there. Does
Okay,
that work?
thank you. Yep, I'm gonna
Okay.
leave from my phone. Awesome, thank you.
Uh-huh. Do I need to send you over?
No, I got it. I'm just gonna
Okay.
leave. I'm gonna exit with my phone.
Okay. Okay, I hope that gave y'all enough time to come to some decisions about how y'all felt about this. And, you know, as time goes on, we'll probably do a couple more of these because I think it's really important that y'all have experience with the SWOT analysis. One of the classes you'll be taking goes a lot more into in depth with this, but I think for almost anything you do, a SWOT analysis is a really good thing, even on a personal level. So, you know, it kind of gives you a chance to evaluate what's actually going on in your world in whatever capacity. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is share the answers, or at least I thought I was, that that the experts say. Excuse me. All right, let me pull it up. I thought I had it up, but it disappeared. Oh, it's not my day. Any day lately. Okay, let's, when it comes to this computer. Okay. Okay. All right. If you, as you look at these answers now, the ones that the experts, does anybody, I'm just going to kind of pick on one or two of them. Does anybody see number one as being anything other than a strength? The center is located a 2-mile walk from the bus station, and 15 minutes from local railway. Can you imagine why that would be anything but a strength? Anybody? Okay, so that's probably not one of the debatable ones. However, when we look at number two, which is there is a competition standard swimming pool, and although it has no wave machines or whirlpool equipment, as do some of the competing local facilities. I can't see y'all, so I can't see a show of hands because I'm sharing the screen. That's one of the not good things about Zoom, but kind of holler out to me. Which, did any of the groups decide it was both a strength and a weakness? Group one, how about you?
We went entirely differently and we saw it as a threat.
Oh, geez. Okay, can you tell me why you would have thought it was a threat?
Yeah, so because we only offered the standard swimming pool, and because there were like competing local facilities that offered possibly better equipment, or like better, not necessarily better, but more variety, we saw that as something to kind of like monitor to see if we should invest in something else. So that's why we put it under a threat, because we didn't know if we necessarily needed to like invest in something to make it better, or if we just kind of wanted to like observe if this would like work for us.
That was really a good point. I would have to agree that it could definitely be a threat to your business. And, you know, the other thing too is, who is your target market? They really didn't get into that too much, you know? I don't think, right? Did they give y'all any explanation as to who the target market was? I can't remember.
No, they didn't. No.
I didn't think so. Okay. So, you know, if you're looking at, let's say a younger group, you know, they might really, really want the wave machine, you know. I can't imagine anyone, you know, that has trouble standing up that would want to get in a wave machine, right? So, you know, you're right. It could definitely be a threat. It could be a weakness, and the only way it could be a strength would be, I think, is that it has water at all. You know, maybe some of the facilities don't have any kind of water. Would y'all agree with that? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other groups think that number two should have been somewhere else?
For my group, we put it as both as opportunity and threat, actually.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all did. I could see how that would work also. And it's also down, you know, as the video talked about, that you're looking both at internal and external. And so, yeah, I could see that also. Okay. So, as we move on down, any group 2, which ones, do you take issue with anything that the experts said? Group 2? I know there's just 3 of y'all, but let me see, who's Jacob Hopkins? Did y'all take issue with, in my mind, I'm trying to think who's in that group. Jacob Hopkins, are you there?
Yep. Hello. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Did y'all's group have anything vastly different than what's on here?
Yes, for number 2 or for number 3?
Well, let's say for number 3.
For number 3, no, we have it in opportunities as well.
Okay. What about just looking overall? Did y'all have anything that you thought really was different than this? Anyone in particular you'd like to make your point for?
Yeah, actually, let's see. We saw 9 as a threat. I'm not sure if that's because I misunderstood the statement.
Okay, so 9 was the local authorities considered privatizing all local leisure centers by the year 2000. You know, I would think that might be a threat too. It would be an opportunity only, I guess, if yours was a private center, you know, then everybody else would be on equal footing. But I think that could go either way also. So, okay, all right. How about group 3? Y'all have anything that y'all thought was vastly different? If y'all don't
No.
answer, I'm gonna
Oh,
call you out.
no, but no, but same thing with us. We put number 9 as a threat.
Okay. Yeah, I could see how that people could think of that as a threat. I don't know really how it would be an opportunity unless, you know, someone could, you know, buy it out. I don't know. I'm not sure I understand how that could be, unless it would equalize things more. But if you privatize it, it really wouldn't, because then people would be able to do what they wanted to with their stuff. So I'm not sure how that is, you know, an opportunity, except maybe to make yourself better, you know, because you everybody's more on equal footing. There's not government funding coming in to anybody. Okay, what about group 4? Did y'all have anything you'd like to take issue with? Okay, I'm gonna call somebody out. Let me see, who do I know in here? How about Jackie Beltran?
For number 13, we put it as an opportunity, just because we saw like an opportunity to improve like the place.
Okay, and they have it as a strength, yeah. And actually, you know, okay, yeah, I would think it was an opportunity too, because you just got the grant. It doesn't say that it has already happened. So,
Right.
yeah, and it would be an opportunity to reach a different level of individuals also. So yeah, it could be both, absolutely. Okay, good job. Group 5, what about you? Now I'm gonna pick Tracy out of this one because I know her.
Okay, I was gonna say, I think number 7, in general, people are living longer and there are more local residents aged over 55 now than ever. I don't know, but for some reason I thought that could be like a strength because people are more likely to have more free time, those people, and maybe they're retired and they can go to the center. But I think the answer was a threat. So
Yeah, it is. And it actually, you know, it depends on if you're catering to that group, then absolutely it would be a strength, you know. They left it so broad, you know, that if you interpreted this, because when I first read this, it's in my mind, I was thinking it was like a leisure facility or something, you know, even though it didn't say that. And so I could see why you might think that, you know, that was definitely, you know, a strength. I'm not sure why they would put that as a threat in this situation. I just don't know. I don't even understand that. Can anybody rationalize that in the class? Why you think 7 would be a threat?
I think that it was put as a threat, one, because it's an external factor, meaning that the leisure center doesn't exactly control the lifespan of people. And two, the fact that they're over 55 means that I guess they're not exactly, they're more vulnerable with like certain accidents or anything unsafe that may happen with engaging with like leisure activities as again with their age.
You know, that's a good point. Really good point. I love it when you students can think outside the box. Good point. Okay, I'm going to bring y'all back out of here, or at least back out of the activity. It's a little before 9, and I'm going to give y'all a choice at this point because it is Thursday, and like typically we don't meet on Thursdays, but the first couple of weeks I usually do. So here's what we can do. I'm done with what I need to say today. I can send y'all back to the breakout rooms, and y'all can have this time to work with your groups about the presentation you'll be doing, or we can say hasta la vista. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open the breakout rooms, and the groups that want to meet can go into the breakout rooms, and the rest of you that want to take off early, 15 minutes early, that's okay with me. Does that work for y'all?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, I'm going to open the breakout rooms, and y'all can make a decision, and on whether you want to join it or whether you want to, head out. And I hope y'all have a great weekend. I'm not going to bring y'all back into the main room. So I will see y'all. Please try to be on time on Tuesday because the librarian does have a full schedule for y'all. Okay?
Professor?
Uh-huh.
I just have like a very quick question about the intro to group thing that we drop on the Dropbox.
Uh-huh.
Right, yeah. So I have you for both this class 353 and also 457, and then you gave both classes the same form.
You can
And
put it the same one.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's where I was going with that. So I
You
was
have
like,
a
do you want
couple
me
of
to like
things.
change my wording on like what
No.
future career I want? Like
No, there's a couple of things that cross over in my classes, and you can always just duplicate it.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's just what I was wondering.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
That's all.
Bye-bye.